Congratulations, you've just woken up as a samurai trainee in Edo period Japan. You're about to find out what it's like to be a tiny cog in an intricate and unforgiving wheel of feudal society. Your bed is a bundle of straw that feels more like sandpaper after just one night's sleep. No memory foam here, no pillows either, just the bare minimum to survive another day. You try to stretch out, but the room is tiny, and so is everything around you. The wood in your hut is ancient and cracked, a stark contrast to the polished floors of Kyoto's samurai estates. Yet here, it's just another day of waking up before sunrise, no matter how many times you wish for a lie-in. As dawn breaks, your sensei appears in the doorway with a bucket of icy well water, a morning ritual that's supposed to wake you up. But probably not in the way he intended. You blink awake as someone starts beating on an old drum nearby, signaling it's time for training before breakfast. That must be the medieval alarm clock, you think, but it's actually far worse, more like a relentless siren announcing your daily trials. The others are already stirring around you, groggy-eyed and unshaven. They look like they've been through more than just one night without proper sleep. You'd think being a samurai would mean some perks, you whisper to yourself. But here's what nobody expected: your day is about to get worse before it gets better. You can barely move your stiff limbs when sensei calls out for calisthenics in the courtyard. And that's all before breakfast, you mutter under your breath. You try to steel yourself for another day of hardship, but the thought hits like a punch in the gut. How do you even begin to navigate this world when every morning starts with a bucket of ice water and an endless list of tasks? You try to steel yourself for another day of hardship, but the thought hits like a punch in the gut. Scene, Edo period Japan. You're standing outside a small, wooden dojo surrounded by rice paddies and thatched roof houses. The sun has barely risen when the call comes again, your name being bellowed across the village to report for training with the samurai apprenticeship program. Scene, you sprint down narrow dirt paths lined with bamboo fences. Your heart races, but not just from fear, it's because your wooden sandals are soaked through and you're only wearing a thin cotton kimono that does little against the chill of dawn. But here's the thing. When you finally arrive at the dojo, you're greeted by an instructor whose stern demeanor would make a drill sergeant blush. Scene, he stands in front of a group of equally exhausted trainees, his eyes narrowing as he sizes up each recruit. Who are you? He demands. You gulp, unsure how to respond. You're not even wearing your nameplate yet. But probably not. The guy's just sizing everyone up because this training isn't for the faint of heart, it's for future warriors who will serve their lord and protect the daimyo's domain with their lives. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse. Scene, suddenly, a group of samurai pass by on horseback. They're dressed in full armor, wielding swords that glint ominously. The sight strikes fear into your heart. These are the masters you will one day aspire to be, but for now, they seem like giants. You blink, trying to shake off the terror. But here's what nobody expected. Scene, the instructor dismisses everyone with a curt nod and hands you a wooden practice sword that feels as heavy as an iron bar. Your training starts immediately, and not just with drills or sparring. No, your day begins with hours of rigorous physical exercises designed to break down the weak-willed. You start to jog around the dojo's perimeter, which is lined with stones for footwork practice and wooden dummies meant to stand in for real opponents. Scene, sweat pours down your face as you run. The smell of sweat mixes with that of horse manure from a nearby stable, a potent combination that's probably not going to win any hygiene awards. You wonder if this is what being a samurai is all about: endless drills and the constant threat of failing. But then, as you round a corner, something catches your eye. Scene, a group of trainees are practicing sword disassembly in record time. You notice they're not just doing it fast, they're doing it perfectly. Your heart sinks. This isn't just about getting tired and sore, it's about precision and perfection from the moment you wake up until the sun sets. And that's all before breakfast, which by now is probably little more than cold rice with a splash of soy sauce. You wonder if your stomach can handle it. Probably not. You catch your breath, trying to figure out how to keep going. But here's the kicker. Scene, the instructor suddenly calls you over. He hands you a wooden stick and points to a water barrel on the other side of the dojo. Hit that with your stick in 3 tries, he says. You look at him like he's insane. This is ridiculous. It's not like hitting a target with a stick is going to make you any better at swordsmanship. Maybe it's some kind of medieval hazing ritual? But probably not, because when you ask him why, his only answer is, because that's what warriors do. You take the stick and start walking towards the barrel, trying to figure out how this bizarre test could possibly relate to anything useful in your training. You have no idea that everything changes when the instructor nods and signals for everyone to line up. But here's the thing. Just as you think this is going to be like boot camp hours of push-ups and drills, it's nothing like that. Instead, the first task is surprisingly mundane: cleaning and maintaining your weapons.
You thought it was all about fighting and combat skills?
It turns out, weapon care is a huge part of being a samurai. You pick up your katana, marveling at its intricate craftsmanship, and start cleaning it meticulously. The blade gleams in the morning sun as you wipe away any dust or dirt. But here's what nobody expected. Despite being a trainee, you're using weapons that are identical to those used by full samurai warriors. These aren't practice swords, but real battle-ready blades. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the instructor walks over and inspects your work with a critical eye. "Good start," he says, but then he grabs his own katana from the rack identical to yours and starts demonstrating techniques that seem impossible without years of practice. You're not sure if you should be impressed or terrified. The day progresses, and before long, it's time for lunch: a simple meal of rice, pickled vegetables, and fish soup served on paper-thin wooden plates. It's like dining at an upscale restaurant but with the taste of the Edo period. However, the real surprise comes later when you realize that your training isn't just about physical prowess or swordsmanship, it's also steeped in philosophy. You'd think learning to fight would be the hardest part. Maybe it's understanding strategy that makes you sweat. Actually, it's both, but also something far more abstract. It's like they expect you to master Bushido, the warrior code, while still figuring out how to swing a sword properly. "So read this," he says simply, handing over the scroll filled with calligraphy that might as well be another language. It's overwhelming but also exhilarating. Everything changes when you realize that being a samurai isn't just about brute strength or even skill, it's about understanding every aspect of life and death. As night falls, the barracks becomes silent except for the soft whispers of your fellow trainees studying their scrolls. You're exhausted but can't stop thinking about what's coming tomorrow. Will you have mastered sword care? How will you ever grasp Bushido? The night is young, and so are your prospects of understanding everything that's expected of you. But probably not in the way you'd hope. You might think that as a samurai trainee, you're there to sharpen your skills with swords and bows. However, the reality hits you like a wave of heat and smell. It's like walking into a locker room after 100 sweaty men have changed in it. You'd think these crates are filled with supplies for your gear. Maybe they're even books on strategy and philosophy. But here's the thing. They're actually filled with human bones. This isn't some strange initiation ritual or cultural tradition, it's a practical problem. There are no proper burial grounds around here, so corpses are left unburied until the bones can be collected. You'd think maybe these bones are being prepared for some kind of ceremony or art project. But just when you thought it couldn't get worse. And that's all before your first day of training even starts. But here's what nobody expected. Everything changed when a group of senior samurai decided bones made for better training mats than actual mattresses. Your sleep quality just went from poor to unbearable. And that's when it hits you: not only are you going to be training with bones, but you're also sleeping with them. It's like bringing your gym bag everywhere, except this time it includes grave goods. But probably not in a way you'd expect. You've been training hard, but something feels off. Maybe it's the way your new comrades eye you like you might break at any moment. Or how your meals feel smaller each day despite your endless work. You wake up to find that the other trainees have moved into your sleeping quarters overnight. Now you're even closer to them and their bed bugs. But here's the thing. There's no privacy whatsoever. You can hear every snore, every argument, every secret whispered in the dark. You try to buy some fresh fish for dinner only to realize you don't understand half of what the vendor says. It's like trying to order at Starbucks with no caffeine buzz. Impossible. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, you find out that your samurai training isn't just about sword skills and archery, but also understanding the complex social hierarchy of Japan in the Edo period. You'd think you could survive with just physical prowess. Maybe learning the local dialect would help too. Actually, it's none of those things. Everything changes when you're introduced to Bushido, the samurai code. But here's what nobody expected. Your new master tells you that half your training will be focused on poetry, calligraphy, and philosophy. So you thought you were there to become a warrior, not join an art school. Suddenly, all the physical challenges pale in comparison to the mental and cultural demands of samurai life. But probably not in a way that's entirely unwelcome. After all, maybe becoming a well-rounded individual was always part of the plan, just not the one you signed up for. You lie awake thinking about how different everything is from what you imagined, a world where every interaction could mean life or death, and where every conversation is laced with potential hidden meanings. But here's the kicker. The truth is that being a samurai trainee isn't just about mastering physical skills, it's about understanding an entire world that operates under rules you've only started to scratch the surface of. And tonight, as you drift off to sleep with all these thoughts swirling in your head, you'll wake up tomorrow to a new challenge, one where the stakes are even higher than ever before. But here's what nobody expected. You finally grasp the bamboo sword you've been practicing with all day. Sweat dries quickly against your skin as the chill begins to settle in. Your eyes drift to the wooden katana hanging on the wall, its edge dull from years of training without battle. But here's what nobody expected. You find a quiet corner where the grass grows tall and uncut. Here, far from prying eyes or the stern gaze of your sensei, you can truly reflect on what it means to be a samurai trainee in this era. It's like stepping into a mirror that reflects not just your physical form but your soul, stripped bare by rigorous discipline and endless training. The daily grind of learning combat techniques, each strike, each parry seems to echo through time. Yet it's the moments between strikes where you truly understand the path ahead. It's not just about mastering a weapon, it's about embracing the spirit of Bushido. But here's what nobody expected. You cup your hands and drink from the cool, clear water. The taste is pure, untainted by modern pollutants. It reminds you that life in Edo was simple yet profound. Yet it's not just the simplicity that strikes you, it's how every choice, no matter how small, could define a life. You'd think the samurai lived for honor and duty. Actually, what truly defined them were the countless moments of quiet reflection. You stand up and look around at your surroundings. The wooden beams of the dojo are worn smooth by years of practice. Each scarred plank tells a story, each faded tatami mat whispers secrets of warriors past. And it's here, amidst the silence and solitude, that you begin to understand. And perhaps that's the strangest part. Not just the way they lived, but how easily we've forgotten what it means to live with purpose and presence. In this quiet moment, as you step out into the starlit night, you carry not just their swords but their legacy, quiet, reflective, profound. In the silence of the night, you leave behind the noise and rush of modern life for even one brief moment. And maybe that's all it takes to find your own path forward.